Hi there and welcome to this user guide for the PriceYourOwnBets.com golf stroke play model. This model has three tabs here, as you can see: course, dashboard and notes. So we'll just go through it quickly. On this first tab, course, is where we're going to put the course details in and the scores of the players as they finish holes. On the dashboard is where most of the information is put in with regard to getting the bets. So the player variables here. The red cells down the bottom here, the reddy pinky cells, are the prices that our variables spit out, and the notes section is just a very brief summary of basically what I'm saying in this video. So we'll start then with the course tab. So the first thing you have to do with this model is to put in the details of the course, which is the par of each hole. So we can do this here, and I've got a course in already. This is Sawgrass for the Players Championship, which is happening at the time I record this video actually. So we've got the first holes are 4, the seconds are 5, the thirds are 3, etc. all the way down this course. And if you had to put your own details of a course in here, it would be, you could change that to a 3 and that to a 4, or whatever you need really. So when all that course details is in, you should see the correct par for the course down here, 72. So the first decision variable you really need to make is how difficult is the course, how difficult is the course playing. You're going to rate the players later, but you're going to rate them relative to this course difficulty. So for example, I might say that the course is playing at 73 in difficulty rather than 72. And if I do that, you'll see here the final value is 73. There's one other main course variable that we do on the way to this, which is the par 5 adjustment. Now this is basically how much under par generally we expect the par 5s to play. So if a course is playing to 72, it's probably not that all the holes are playing to par, it's probably the par 5s are playing under and the 3s and 4s are playing a bit over. So this value here is set to 4.7. So that means if you look at this column here, we get 4 for a par 4, but 4.7 for a par 5 and 3 for a par 3. This only comes to 70.8 shots, but we said we wanted 73, so this is simply scaled back up. So they're all made a little bit more difficult. So the par 4s become 4.12, the par 5s have moved from 4.7 up to 4.85, and the par 3s from 3 to 3.09. So we're going to just have a play with this. Suppose it's a reasonably easy course for whatever reason. We think it's going to play at 69.5. Then obviously all these numbers come down now. So the par 5s, for example, are now playing at 4.61 for the average score. So that's all the main stuff to do with the course. But we could also put some other slight adjustments in. So let me just put this back to 73 just to get a feel. And for each hole, you can just give it a relative difficulty. So for example, this par 4 here, that might be a difficult one. So I've put it up an adjustment of 0.1, which makes it up at 4.10. Make this one a slightly easier, that par 5. Maybe this is an easy par 3, and you can just move all the holes as you see fit to kind of get a feel for the difficulty of the particular holes. And you might have this from historic stats as to how the course plays or whatever. Now all of these might not add up to 0. So here where I've done them both ways, and they've actually come out to 0.1. So again, that means that this has come down a little bit, but I want it always to come back to 73, so that I don't want to, if I think the course is playing harder, to have to move all of these up. I just make the course harder, so I go up to 73.5, and the final result here goes up. So as play goes on, it's quite important to get this course difficulty right. If you're doing a bet between two players not playing together, suppose one guy is par after 9 holes. Well, is that a good score or a bad score? So if the course was in for 73.5 here, then par after 9 would probably be quite good, because that's, the course is expected to play to more than par, whereas if it was an easy course and it was playing at 69, then par would probably be, doing worse than average. So I'll put this back to 73 then, and that's pretty much everything here on this main course. Now we can move on to the players. So in this dashboard tab here, you can see all this course details again at the top. There's a little tick box here if you just want to hide that. You can look back at the course tab if you want to see that information, or you can have it visible. The first thing you have to do with the players is to pick the number of players. So it could be a 3-ball for the first couple of rounds of a tournament, or a 2-ball for the final couple of rounds. So here, when it's a 2-ball, obviously we get less bets here. Just to show, when it's a 3-ball, you get a 3-way price here for who has the best round. The rules on this particular bet are the dead heat rules. So if 2 were to tie, you'd get half of your stake back with half of your win, and you'd lose half your stake. We also have the 3 different ways of pricing up a 2-ball. We've got a 3-way including a tie. We can actually back the draw here, which is coming out around 12 in decimal price. You can do with the dead heat rules apply, or you can do with a draw no bet. So as the tie or the draw becomes more likely, these two can actually be quite a bit different from each other. So it was worth just putting both of those down there. So let's look at the player variables then. Well, the most important rating for every player is how you expect him to do relative to your adjusted par score. So I put the par score at 73 on the previous tab. So all of these players are just expected to play to that score of 73. So let's make them a bit different from one another. So suppose this guy's really good. I'm going to make him 2.8 shots under. This guy's pretty good. I'll make him 2.1 shots under. And then maybe this guy's not so good, so I'm going to put him 0.6 shots over. So for those ratings here, we get different expected scores here. So the first guy, 73 minus 2.8 was 70.2. 73 minus 2.1 is a 70.9, and the 73 plus 0.6 is 73.6. So this is the scores of these 3 players, and they equate to prices of 49%, or just around evens, 38%, 2.6, and 13%, which comes out at 8 decimal, so about 7 to 1. You've also got the prices between the individual players here, so you've got 52.48 and 73.21.6. Obviously, this guy's very strong against the guy who, he's 3.4 shots expected better, so he's a strong favourite. And then B and C, it's the similar thing, 68% against 25 with a 7% tie. So they're the most important variables. Certainly pre-match, you need to get these right. You can do that in one of 2 ways. You can have your own opinions. As I've said with some of the other models, it might be that you've looked at research, or you really have a feel for these players and you think you know what these numbers should be. And if so, you put these in and you can beat the market here. So for example, suppose the market was 49%, him minus 2.8, but you think he's better, you think he's 3.6 below, you really think he's playing strong, then now he's up at 56%, so there could be some value there. The other thing you can do is just get these right to get to match price for the match price, and then it could be your in-running sophistication takes you away from the market if you've got better course details on the previous tab, or better knowledge of the players. So we'll go on to the knowledge of the players now, and you can give them a better or worse rating for par 3s, 4s and 5s. Again, it will always balance the book, so this guy's at 69.4, so if I make him 0.2 of a shot better on par 5s, if we look, his par 5 scoring decreases quite a bit, so that went from 4.54 to 4.39, but obviously it's balancing the books, and so that score there hasn't changed, and because your ultimate score for him at the start of the round is still the same, these are moving pretty much not at all. So to try and get a feel for this in running, let's put that back to 0. Now let's make this guy, so at the moment I think he's 4.02 on this par 4. So if I go back to that, and give him a 4. Now back here, he's gone to 69.4. So because that is quite close to 4, his rating has basically stayed the same, or his expected score. Well, suppose I think he's a really good par 4 player. So now he was expected to do 3.94. So he's actually done worse than he was expected. And so this has changed a little bit. So if I go even further with this, you can see the probability changing here. If I make him bad at par 4s, then actually he's outperformed what he was supposed to do, because this was supposed to take him 4.13 to get to his expected score. So the par was actually a good score on that particular hole. So you can do that with all the different players. You can, play with them all. So a good place this might work is, suppose this player C is very strong on par 5s, and suppose the last 2 of the last 4 holes were par 5s, with 4 holes to go, you've got him half a shot better than would be expected. So the prices should acknowledge the fact that you think he's good at par 5s. So by putting in the course details and the player traits on the particular types of hole, you can hopefully find some value towards the end, and it's something to have a play with and to see how you do. The last variable we put in for the players here is aggression. And what the aggression does, I'm going to try and reset everything here just to so everybody's the same. I'm going to put the aggression factor for player 1. I'm going to put him positive aggression. So what does this do? Well, if you keep an eye on this column here, standard deviation, aggression is all about really trying to achieve. So he's not any better here. He's still only going to score 72 because I've got them all back to the start now. But his standard deviation's gone up. So he's more expected to get a good score, but he's also more expected to get a bad score. So he's just widened his possibilities. Now, in a 3-way match bet, that's actually quite good for him, because where he does bad, he was going to lose anyway. But where he does well, because he's got more stretched, he's more likely to shoot a low score. So it's had a positive impact here on his chances of winning. So his odds have shortened to 2.94, and the other 2 are at 3.05. If, on the other hand, I make him just a really conservative player who's going to get lots of pars to get to his 72, it has the opposite effect here. He basically is the least likely to win the match bet, because with 2 players against him, par, he's more likely to do average, and average is probably not going to beat 2 players. Yet when you look in the match bets down here, everything stays the same. So if you imagine a whole tournament, if there was more players in, aggression would be a good thing. But obviously this model is just for the 2 and a 3 player match bets for now. So I think that's about it for this one. So the aggression, just to recall, is about how many pars they get. The player ability traits here will help you with the specifics of in running when there's a few holes to go in particular, and the rating is obviously the most important one, which gives you a value for each player. So I think that's it for this one. Thanks very much for listening, and we'll be back with another user guide and another model soon at priceyourownbets.com. Thank you for listening.